In fact, continue to be with us. What we are learning next is that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived in Ahmedabad to take the stock of the situation. We are also learning that another forensic team has arrived. Now, viewers, it is important to learn that right now the forensic teams are at the ground taking the samples for the DNA testing, which was also being cited yesterday by Union Home Minister Amit Shah while he gave an official response on the status of the crash. And right now what he was picking up after taking the review of the situation from the ground, as he reached in just hours to speak to in fact the officials and the family members and the lone survivor that he spoke to yesterday after he survived this very deadly crash. The identification is also slated to begin shortly. All right, Anand continues to be with us on the broadcast. As the forensic teams additionally have reached the ground, Anand, what are you picking up as far as the medical kits are seen being taken to the medical college as well? The medical college, we have seen in the visuals, was completely devastated, and as it in fact showed the visuals from inside the mess, there were tragic scenes. The medical test kits are now being brought for the forensic analysis and the DNA testing that will be beginning to identify the victims of the plane crash. Anand.
Yes, Simran, look, several members of the forensic team have also arrived here at the crash site just moments ago, and they will be also trying to figure out that where is the black box, which is the one of the main components of the airplane that records, that has the records of the voice data and everything, that what has gone wrong in the system of the aircraft that was airborne, and then it within a minute it met with the disaster. So clearly these are the things that the forensic team will be collecting from here. And beside that, they will be also trying to ascertain that if there are any remains of the bodies of any of the passengers or the intern doctors who have died in this tragic air disaster over here. So they will try to also figure out that if they can take out more remains of the dead bodies from this crash site. So the teams are coming with several of the forensic kits to store and preserve the DNAs of the several of the people who had died in this crash. So clearly this is a very tough situation for the forensic team also, because the fire that soon engulfed the entire building after the air crash, as the fuel was completely full in that aircraft, and that led to a major fire over here. So it's very tough for them also to find more bodies over here, but they are going to look after, and they have also brought the sniffer dogs with them so that they can easily get to more and more bodies, so that they can be taken to hospital and they can be handed over to their family. Back to you, Simran.
Well, all right, Anand. In fact, stay on with us, as we are also going to get some live visuals in just a bit, as Prime Minister Narendra Modi also reaches at the site of the crash and takes the stock, which in fact all the authorities are also waiting for, the security agencies. There are multiple teams that have been formed immediately after this very tragic incident, as even for the passengers and the flyers who have been stuck at the airport due to this non-operation of the airport after this tragic crash. All right, now viewers, in just a bit we are going to take more updates and developments as they are coming at this point of time. Now on that note, with more news and updates on the other side, stay tuned.
Co-powered by PolicyBazaar.com, हर फैमिली होगी इंश्योर्ड।
रितेश श्रीवास्तव जी सिर्फ 35 साल की उम्र में अचानक एक बीमारी से चले गए। उनकी टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस के पैसे बच्चों की पढ़ाई और घर खर्च में काम आ सकते हैं। पॉलिसी बाजार ने क्लेम के वक्त फैमिली का पूरा साथ दिया। पॉलिसी बाजार पे 2 करोड़ का टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 700 रुपए महीने से शुरू। कीर्ति अरोरा जी सिर्फ 38 साल की उम्र में एक बीमारी से चली गई। उनके टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस के पैसे उनके बच्चे की पढ़ाई में काम आ सकते हैं। पॉलिसी बाजार ने क्लेम के वक्त फैमिली का पूरा साथ दिया। पॉलिसी बाजार पे 2 करोड़ का टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 700 रुपए महीने से शुरू।
अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया NewsX का मीडिया स्कूल। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का कोर्स आपको मौका देता है देश के दिग्गज एंकर्स के साथ काम करने का। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में आप बेहद नजदीकी से देख पाएंगे किस तरह से ITV नेटवर्क के दिग्गज पत्रकारों की टीम दिन रात खबरों पर काम करती है। इस कोर्स के दौरान आप सीखेंगे एंकरिंग की एक एक बारीकी उन एंकर्स के साथ जो देश को रखते हैं हर खबर से बाखबर। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का ये कोर्स आपके एंकरिंग स्किल्स को करेगा इतना सशक्त मजबूत, जिससे आप बनेंगे पत्रकारिता की दुनिया का वो चमकता चेहरा जो दुनिया देखेगी और पसंद करेगी।
आज नक्सलवाद भी भारत में अपनी अंतिम सांसें गिन रहा है।
मैं सबसे पहले एक बात इस सदन में जिम्मेदारी के साथ बताना चाहता हूं।
Now we are welcome back as the latest developments that we are tracking at this point of time in fact include Prime Minister Narendra Modi reaching Ahmedabad, while Union Minister for Civil Aviation Ram Mohan Naidu, Gujarat Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel and Union Minister C.R. Patil had reached at the Ahmedabad airport this morning to receive Prime Minister Narendra Modi. PM Modi is now expected to reach the incident site in a short while. He is also going to hold a review meeting in Ahmedabad. Prime Minister can also go to the hospital and meet the family members is what we are learning further. While PM Modi's cavalcade has arrived at the crash site, and as you can see in the visuals, viewers on air on your screens, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's cavalcade reaches the crash site. So he is about to in fact reach the site and speak to the people there, managing the situation and also assessing the necessary steps at this point of time as directed. While to take us through the latest updates, I have my colleague Anand Singh joining me live. Anand, now Prime Minister Narendra Modi's cavalcade has reached the crash site where the 241 passengers and additional people of additional students of the hostel, in fact, who have lost their lives. Prime Minister Narendra Modi this morning has reached at the site. We can see the cavalcade in the visuals on air. What are you picking up as these developments in fact happened right in front of you?
Yes, Simran, just moments ago, the cavalcade of Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived over here at the crash site in Ahmedabad, which is just 3 kilometers away from the airport. So clearly, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be briefed by several of the security officials over here, which comprises of the NDRF, Gujarat Police and the forensic team that are here since yesterday afternoon. So they will be briefing Prime Minister Narendra Modi that how the dead bodies of the several of the passengers and also the intern doctors who were present at this hostel were brought out, and how the fire that engulfed the entire building was brought down. So clearly they will be briefing Prime Minister Narendra Modi that how within 1 minute of the airborne, the flight AI 171, which was London bound from Ahmedabad, it came down at this accident site in Ahmedabad, that is a government hospital's hostel for the intern students. So clearly the Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be briefed, and several of the forensic teams are over here. They are trying to figure out that they are trying to find out the black box, which is one of the major components of the aircraft and which holds several of the information that what led to such a big disaster in the aviation sector and especially in India's aviation history. So clearly the Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be taking a stock of all the situation over here. He will be also holding meeting with several of the senior officials and government ministers so that he can ascertain that what other steps his government need to take. As yesterday also Union Home Minister Amit Shah and Union Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu had already visited the crash site, and they also went and to the hospitals to take stock of the arrangements that have been made over there to deal with such kind of tragedy over here. So the Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be having his meeting with the Gujarat Chief Minister too, and along with that the Civil Aviation Minister will also be available in that meeting along with the senior officials from several of the security agencies. Back to you, sir.
Anand, show us through the visuals of the scenes that are unfolding at the crash site at this point of time. As you're speaking to me, show us these live visuals that you can at right now, just ahead of the moments when Prime Minister Narendra Modi is also going to take a stock and is also going to hold the review meeting. These moments that you're tracking at this point of time. All right, we'll get the connection stable with my colleague Anand, who's joining us from the crash site in just a bit. All right, on that, in fact, I also have my guest, senior journalist Himanshu Bhatt. Thank you very much, sir, for being with us on the broadcast. The air crash is being understood as one of the worst aviation disasters that India has suffered, even in the times of grief at this point of time. There are looming questions which hint at the answers which even the families of these victims, of the total 265 victims, must be looking at, while the accountability from the airlines or the aircraft manufacturers is also on, in fact, the top questions that remains to be answered. What do you think as of now should be the right approach to tackle these questions that are looming? There are several theories and conspiracies, in fact, being made out as to how only one lone survivor could jump out from the aircraft and did make out alive when 241 have lost their lives.
See, something like this. It's a disaster that has never occurred in Indian aviation history, because it looks like that. A twin-engine aircraft, both the engines fail, GE engines for you, Boeing Dreamliner, which is considered one of the safest, commercial aircraft. Within a minute it breaks. Couple of fundamental questions here. What happened in the maintenance check? Why the aircraft was given all good for go ahead? It started and in a minute, both the engines failed. There is a digital blackout also. If you remember, before the incident happened, as soon as the plane took off, there was a stall. And on the stall, there was a mayday given by the pilot. Air traffic signals replied back, but then there was no answer. So there was a total digital blackout. So we'll have to wait till, we find this black box, the sound recorders and other things. It's only then we'll, get the mystery revealed that what happened to the aircraft and how did it collapse. And that amount of, fuselage and amount of fire that came out, it looked more like, it's something like something crashing and then going off. But actually, did that happen? That is also a question. I have fundamentally two questions. One question is, how did both the engines simultaneously fail? And the question number two is, why there was a digital blackout? Could this have been hacked somewhere or jammed something? Or was it just a plain disaster? Rarest of the rare, 1 in lakh cases where both the engines failed simultaneously and the craft could, after taking off, could not sustain. Now it remains to be seen, calling it anything, conspiracy and other things, I don't believe in it. But we have to go, bit by bit, and the exact inspection and exact, black box checking by the experts. Experts will be able to tell you more about that. Will reveal so many things. Now, it's something like this. Initially, yesterday afternoon, there was a shock. That shock, once it subsided a little, after a few hours, a fear and a panic came in. And now, the hard questions need to be asked. Is it got, something wrong with the Boeing's 787? Well, Boeing team will come, or maybe already has come. They will answer that. But will they answer it correctly? How many disasters with the twin engines when both the engines failing simultaneously have taken place till now in the world? Boeing has a big questions to answer, and it will affect them commercially hugely. Because this, Boeing's airliners are used by so many countries. Was there a thorough maintenance checkup of the aircraft before it took off? Who had done it? Was it still the Turkish maintenance firm that had done this? See, we are in the times which are very, very dicey. And so such questions quietly need to be asked, and exactly what happened needs to be known. Because we are in a world of network-centric warfare. I'm using this again, network-centric warfare. So many things are a possibility. However remote they may be, but they are still there. Till you, count them out, you cannot rule out anything. I'm not prepared to buy this sabotage or a conspiracy theory at present. But let the thorough investigation take place. We'll come to know of the facts. Because if such a thing has happened, Bharat needs to respond. And another thing about this, Boeing 787. These were GE engines here, not Rolls-Royce. GE engines and Bharat seem to have a problem. Even for our military craft, we are asking for GE engines, 404, 414, and we have not got it yet after a 2 years delay, despite making the payments. So there seems to be some problem. If you look at the balance sheets of Boeing, there are huge losses. So what's happening? These are some of the pertinent questions, that need to be answered. And when such an incident happened, during this time, it becomes all the more important. Yes, precious lives are lost. We need to take care of that first. We need to, save and give as much as aid possible to the people who are grievously hurt. All these things will go on. And that's why, you find the government is giving ample importance. Yesterday, there was Home Minister there, Civil Aviation Minister there. Today, Prime Minister himself visited, and don't forget that. This is the hometown of Home Minister and the Prime Minister both. Both of them have worked here in Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar, and where, the crash happened, it is barely 2.5 to 3 kilometers away from the airport.
Well, all right, Mr. Bhatt, thank you very much, and I'll request your cooperation to be with us on the broadcast ahead as well, as we are also looking at these live visuals on our screen. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's cavalcade reached at the crash site just moments ago, and he's heading to visit the civil hospital as well, where the crash site did take place, while also going to hold the review with the top officials of the crash site and officials from the Air India as well. Review efforts in Meghalaya with the Gujarat Chief Minister and top officials will be taken in stock. All right, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has now departed from the crash site. He is slated to reach the civil hospital is what we are learning. My colleague Anand is there with us live on the broadcast. Anand, now he's heading, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is heading towards the civil hospital. Take us through the latest details.
Yes, Simran, look, Prime Minister Narendra Modi came at the crash site and he spent more than 15 minutes over here, and he was briefed by several of the senior officials from NDRF and Gujarat Police Administration. So clearly he was briefed that what all the steps the state government has taken in providing the rescue work soon after the major air crash that took place on Thursday afternoon at the Gujarat government's city hospitals, one of the hostel over here for interns, doctors especially, where the mess which is situated on the ground floor of this building, and we can imagine that how it didn't give the time to several of the intern doctors that they could come out of this building, and they too died in this tragic air crash. So clearly the Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been briefed over here at the crash site by the team of NDRF and several of the union government ministers and several of the other top officials from the Gujarat government. So now the Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set to visit civil hospital. He is headed towards civil hospital, where several of the family members who have came and arrived over here at the hospital in the search for the bodies of their loved ones. And also the Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be also meeting one of the sole survivors of this air crash that took place on Thursday afternoon, and he will try to understand that what went during that 1 minute of the tragic flight that went down soon after taking off from the Ahmedabad Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel airport. So Prime Minister, after meeting the sole survivor and several of the family members here at the city hospital, he will leave for the CM's office, and there he will be briefed by several of the top officials. He will review the work, and he will also take the stock of all the situation, that what all the steps the state government and the central government has taken to provide adequate measurements and adequate steps that it has taken to provide them assistance since yesterday. Back to you, Simran.
Well, all right, Anand, I'll request you to kindly stay on, as we also have guests on our broadcast this morning, as more developments and the breaking updates that we are tracking come at this point of time. I welcome Air Commander joining me live on the broadcast. But before that, in fact, let's also look at the live visuals we are looking at of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's cavalcade that is en route the civil hospital, that has arrived at the civil hospital, is what we are learning at this point of time. Remember, viewers, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to take the stock and review the situation presently at the ground as the aftermath of the loss of life of 265 people, the death toll, which is now making this aviation disaster as one of the worst in the history for India. The Boeing 787 Dreamliner is the aircraft that has crashed within just a minute of the takeoff, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi has reached the civil hospital in Ahmedabad, where there are in fact people and the victims who are taking the treatment at this point of time. Well, all right, in fact, Anand Singh is also there with me live on the broadcast. Anand, what we can see in the visuals is that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has reached the civil hospital after taking the stock at the crash site. Take us through the details of the conversations that have happened, as Gujarat Chief Minister is also with Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the civil hospital. Anand.
Look, Simran, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived at the civil hospital over here, and he's interacting with one of the sole survivors of this tragic air disaster that took place on Thursday afternoon. So clearly, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is also likely to meet some of the relatives of the passengers who died in this tragic accident, and the intern students' families also he can interact with, who have gathered there to get the dead bodies of their loved ones who died in this incident yesterday afternoon. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be meeting all of them, and then he will be heading towards the Gujarat government office, where he will be also holding a review meeting with Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel. And Bhupendra Patel, the Chief Minister of Gujarat, is also accompanying the Prime Minister here at the civil hospital, which is one of the major hospitals over here, and where all the dead bodies have been kept and preserved since yesterday as they were being brought out from this crash site. So clearly the Prime Minister Narendra Modi will meet the sole survivor in this air crash, who is of UK citizen but of Indian origin. But then Prime Minister Narendra will also take a stock of the situation and what all assistance his government is providing to all of them. Back to you, Samar.
Well, all right. In fact, Anand, right now, what we are looking at these live visuals is that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has entered the civil hospital, where he is going to also speak to the victims and their family members. Civil hospital in Ahmedabad, where the plane crash victims are also taking the treatment. A total of 265 in the tragedy killed, with also flight captain losing his life. Prime Minister Narendra Modi takes the stock of the situation at the civil hospital. The trauma center of the civil hospital is what we are learning will be visited, and he is likely to also meet the lone survivor of the plane crash. Well, all right. In fact, now viewers, joining me live on the broadcast is Air Commander VSM retired Rashid Qureshi, and also a Kargil warrior, joining me live on the broadcast. Sir, appreciate your presence on the telecast, as we can understand that there is enough effort that has been made to assess the situation, but it is natural and but obvious that it is going to take some time into analyzing what could possibly go wrong into the loss of life of all the people. There is in fact just one survivor left, and that too by chance, on this ill-fated aircraft. If we talk about Boeing 787, what do you think, sir, where the accountability starts from when we speak about that there have been whistleblowers making also claims about this aircraft being behind the catastrophic disasters?
See, this is one of the worst air accident has taken place, and unfortunately, it has happened in our country. Very sorry to say this, actually, but whatever visual and whatever at present videos are available with us, and whatever I could analyze a little bit exactly at the time of takeoff of aircraft. It appears to me exactly there was some loss of thrust. Actually, there was some loss of power. What was the reason? That we will come to know only once we do the definitely DGCA and investigation team carries out the FDR analysis and CVR analysis. What has happened exactly? And initially, if you see, immediately after takeoff, the aircraft climbed almost around 600 plus feet, what has been told actually through different media. Okay, now if that is so, why the air undercarriage were down exactly? Why they were not exactly retracted? There are few questions which can be answered only after the detailed analysis of FDR as well as the CVR. That's the first part. As far as coming to the Boeing 787, in fact, if you see, it is a very modern aircraft. We can talk anything about any aircraft after any incident or accident. But if you see the specific about Boeing 787, it is equipped with a multi-tiered actually safety architecture. Okay, it is designed to mitigate failures and ensure safe operation even in the abnormal circumstances. Okay, and also 787, instead of having a traditional manual controls, it fly by digital fly by wire system that interprets basically pilot's input electronically. So and adjust control accordingly. So saying exactly directly saying actually Boeing 8787 had a problem, definitely that will come to know only after analysis. But the 787 also has actually the minimum the you can say incident or accident rates. The best actually flight safety records 787 had. It is very at too early actually in my opinion, very difficult to say at this stage what has gone wrong. But what we can analyze and what I can say from my side is in the beginning itself when the aircraft was taking off and it took off. It was a very you can say easy takeoff. There was no problem in to my opinion. But after takeoff, it appears to me there are some kind of stall or some kind of thrust loss, actually, which was since beginning itself it was looking and going both the engine unserviceable. It is close to impossible because these both the engines actually they are very you can say highly you can say rated engines and very powerful engine. Even one engine goes totally stalled and total become unserviceable, this aircraft is fit to fly actually with one engine up to London and can do the safe landing. So going both the engines together unserviceable, it doesn't digest me in totality. Absolutely. And now let's hope exactly what we get from the you can say analysis from the investigation, and we have to put our you can things on right thing. Anything could have gone wrong. It is too early at this stage actually we can comment on anything at present.
All right, Mr. Qureshi. In fact, now I'll request you to be with us as